Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. We're very glad you're with us today. It is August 24th, 2021. If you have questions throughout the presentation, please just put your questions into the chat window in the chat box on Zoom. And for those watching on Facebook, please just put your questions into the comment field. We are monitoring that feed and we'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, and if you have your microphone or camera on, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window do not appear in the recording. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I started a second website, careerusa.org, to help people outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007, and I'll tell you about our upcoming program that we're having this Friday at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIT crew. If you'd like to practice your interviewing skills, as I like to say, practice early, practice often, let me know, and I'll get you some information on how to do that. Well, we have four outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn, and they all talk about LinkedIn from a little bit different point of view. Locke and Ruth are both career coaches and consultants. Terry is a digital sales and marketing leader, and Kurt Vondermatter is a retained search consultant. And so it's always nice to hear a little bit different point of view every week on LinkedIn and what you should be thinking about and what you should be doing. So this week, our speaker is Ruth Lipsky. She's going to talk about LinkedIn search engine optimization. So Ruth, thank you for being with us, and take it away.
Thank you so much. We'll be talking today about LinkedIn and specifically about the idea that you can change the information on your LinkedIn profile to be able to increase the opportunity of recruiters to find you. So we'll be looking at the search engine optimization side, not necessarily the content, although the two of them are really hand in hand. We're going to go through the goals that you have on LinkedIn. We'll talk about what recruiters see and why they see it. We'll talk about how you can maximize the title area of your profile and the skills and where you can put them. We'll discuss the other sections that you can add to your LinkedIn profile. And we'll talk about networking, because LinkedIn feels very strongly that networking is the key to finding your next job and to presenting yourself in the best possible way. And why is this so important? Because companies do hire from several sources. The first is one most people are going to be looking at most closely, and that's the company website. About half of all jobs that are offered are coming from the company website. Applying to the company website, perfect way to find a job. Referrals are probably a better way, because there you're going to somebody within the company, asking them to be able to talk to the hiring manager, to the recruiter, and be able to give you a reference internally. Those are generally very well received. Now, the recruiters themselves, these are the headhunters. These are people outside the company who are collecting people of talent and offering them to the company. It's not as strong an industry as it used to be, but it's still an important part. But take a look at this. In LinkedIn, you have the ability of getting into the forefront, because a third of all people that a company is offering jobs to are found on the LinkedIn site. The recruiter will go out, take a look for title, look for skills, look for interest in their company, and they'll be able to contact people who have that interest and that skill and be able to start the interview process there. We're seeing more and more that the LinkedIn site itself is a huge plus to find talent quickly and cheaply, as compared to posting a job out on the job boards. So This is going to be a trend that we're going to see more and more, and LinkedIn is going to become more and more important to you. Now, if you have questions as we go along, please put them in the chat box, and Jeff is going to be keeping an eye on things so that we can get all the questions answered that you got. So you've got two goals on LinkedIn, and for the most part, it's the same type of information, but not always. So the first goal is to set up a LinkedIn profile that is going to be good for recruiters to see. It's got to have your picture, it should have a nice background, it should have some personal information if that's appropriate for the type of job you're looking for, but it needs to be welcoming and chock full of information about what you've done, how you've done it, what skills you've used. The other goal that you've got, though, is to optimize your profile so that the LinkedIn search engine is able to find you and prioritize you. So here's an example of a conflict here. Do you need to be an AllStar? To be an AllStar on LinkedIn, you need to complete 7 different sections of LinkedIn, one of which is having a current job. A lot of times recruiters are going to tell you that they don't care if you're an AllStar or not. They just want to see what the information is about you. They want to see what your skills are. They want to see what experience you've had. So recruiters will quite often tell you that this AllStar designation that LinkedIn gives is not really important to them. However, if you're looking on LinkedIn to find people, LinkedIn is going to prioritize the ones who have the most complete set of information in their profiles, and they're going to give priority to people who are AllStars. So an AllStar will be ranked above the people who simply have an intermediate profile. So when in doubt, make sure that your profile is search engine optimized, because that's going to bring you to the attention of the recruiters. So let's take a look and see what the recruiters are actually seeing. First thing to know is that LinkedIn calculates a score for your profile every day. And it's based on the amount of content that you have. It's based on the amount of activity you have. You can never see your score. They're not going to divulge what that is. And it can go up, it can go down, it can move around. And LinkedIn will not tell you how many points you get for any set of activity. But we know that the more information you have on your profile and the more active you are on LinkedIn, the higher your score is going to be. So you're not going to be able to see a score, but as long as you're active, as long as you fill in more and more information about yourself on LinkedIn, your score is going to be high enough to show up at the top of a recruiter search. So here's a recruiter who is looking for a project manager in the greater Chicago area. And they're going to be looking for skills in business strategy and in analytics. Notice that LinkedIn, as soon as you put in a title, will give you other skills that are associated with that type of role. So in this case, the recruiter just picked these 2. Got 42,798 candidates. Of those, number 1 is Emily Dalton. LinkedIn never does anything randomly. There's a reason that Emily is number 1, that Channing is number 2, that Aubrey is number 3. So out of nearly 43,000 people who match the search requirements over here, Emily came up number 1. There are a couple reasons for that. And they have to do not only with the title and the skills that are over here, but some other features that they have set up in their profiles. They're open to new opportunities. And this is the open to new work section that LinkedIn has at the top of your profile page. They have company connections, which means that they are connected on LinkedIn to somebody within the company. And they are engaged in this company's talent brand. That means that they have gone onto the LinkedIn company page for this particular company, decided to follow it, which drops it into their interest area on their profile page. So that means that they're interested in new opportunities in general and are very interested in the company because they're connected to people in the company and they're following the company on LinkedIn. So as you can see from Emily Dalton, she has 2 company connections. So she's connected to 2 people within this company. She is following the company on LinkedIn, and she's open to new opportunities and has roles that match the type of job that this recruiter is looking for. And you'll find that for the rest of this page, recruiters can go down generally 100, 125, just scrolling down and taking a look at people to see what information they have. And there's very little information that LinkedIn gives the recruiter at this stage. They let them know what the title is, where they're located, and what their current and past titles are, just the last 2 titles beyond that. That's not an awful lot of information in order to gauge whether you want to explore this person's profile more carefully. So when we talk about optimizing the title, we're going to talk about this section through here, where you're going to put more than just the title that you had. You're going to put in a description of what value you bring to the company, so that when a recruiter sees this little snippet of information, they're going to be able to recognize more of what you do, how you do it, and what you think your greatest skills are. Let's take a look at another page, another search in LinkedIn Recruiter. And this recruiter is just looking for accountants. Came up with over 4 million of them. And once again, LinkedIn is not going to put them in random order. There's a reason why this person's number 1 and this person is number 2. Part of it is because of this new feature that LinkedIn has, that they are more likely to respond. LinkedIn calculates that by taking a look at how often you respond to a recruiter who reaches out to you on your LinkedIn profile on your message tab. If a recruiter sends a note to you to say, we've got a job opening, we think you're a good fit for this, would like an opportunity to talk to you. If you ignore that because it's not a job you're interested in, then your score on more likely to respond starts going down. If you respond to every recruiter who contacts you with a message that could say, I'm interested, or this isn't the type of role I'm looking for, my skills are more in this area, make sure that you always respond to recruiters. Now, there are a lot of people who are using LinkedIn in order to try and get you to purchase their services. You can ignore those people, but don't ignore a recruiter, because that's going to affect your likely to respond. This recruiter is also looking for the people who are willing to move into a new job and who are connected to the people in their company. So here's what recruiters are looking for. They want all of this information out there. But what we're finding is that the search engine's first reason for putting you at the top is that you've got a mutual interest in the company. And those items that you need to work on most carefully are going to be that you're likely to respond, that you actually do respond when a recruiter reaches out, that you're connected to employees in the company, you're following the company on LinkedIn, so it's in your interest area, that you're open to work, and if you're a past applicant, they give priority on that. This area up at the top is more important than the relevance to the job being searched. So it's more important that you look at these items in order to ensure that you rank high in these search engines. Secondarily, they're going to be looking for titles, skills, and any quizzes that you may have passed. They're also going to be looking at general activity on LinkedIn, how often you post, how often you comment, how often you connect with other people, how often you give recommendations or go into the skills and endorsements and endorse somebody else's skills. They also take a look at the recruiter's past preferences. We can't control that, but it's something to be aware of, that whenever the recruiter has a pattern for searching, LinkedIn is going to remember that and is going to give those past preferences priorities too. But in order to get to the top of a recruiter list, make sure that you're interested in their company and the people within the company. and make sure that your title, your skills, your experience are all reflective of what you can do. So let's talk about the titles, because you saw that there was very little information on that page. So we're going to use the titles that LinkedIn has standardized. Your company may have given you a title that they felt was appropriate for the position you were in, the level you were in, the department you were in, but it may not translate well to people outside that industry or that company. So putting in additional titles into your headline, your open to work, and your experience section are going to allow the recruiter to understand a little bit more closely what you've done based on what types of roles LinkedIn has identified for each one of those titles. So add in more titles to the headline. Make sure that you have up to 5 in the open to work area. And in your experience section, you can add in additional titles so that you can reference other types of roles that you actually completed while you were in that role. And we'll take a look at that once we get onto LinkedIn itself. So the headline area is the first area that is going to show up for the recruiter. And it used to be that we wanted people to put in title, 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 title with a pipe in between, because that means or in LinkedIn. As soon as LinkedIn expanded the headline area to 220 characters, we realized that LinkedIn was rewarding people who put in skills into this area. So where in the past we would have said, yep, put in VP marketing, put in global marketing. Now we're going to say you can put in those titles, but then putting a value statement in, creating value for business through effective marketing strategies, putting in what your skills are, how you're going to be able to do your job, or what portion of that type of job you actually have the experience in, is going to help the recruiter understand more about who you are. And as you saw from the recruiter snapshots that we saw of their pages, people aren't putting in an awful lot of information in the headline, but it certainly would be useful to have additional information there that gives the recruiter a clue that you're different from other people and that you have skills that are probably going to be a better match. If you don't know what to put in your headline, you can always start out with an adjective, especially if you are award-winning, if you have certifications, put those types of words at the beginning. Then add several titles. Use the titles that LinkedIn has standardized. You can find those in the open to work section. You can talk then about what value you bring, specializing in, focused on, able to, or you can just add some skills in your title that are going to be indicative of the things that you can concentrate on in your new job. So as an example, dynamic program manager driving brand awareness through integrated marketing. That gives a recruiter a lot more information than just program manager, because a program manager means so many different things to so many different companies. So giving them a good feel for what you did and how you did it is really going to help your chances of being found by a recruiter. Now let's talk about how we're going to take our skills to a higher level. You're going to put keywords in your profile. And if you've taken any of the other LinkedIn classes that Jeff has coordinated, you'll hear a lot about keywords, about experience, about making sure you've got all the information in there that a recruiter will be looking for. LinkedIn in 2020 did an analysis at the end of the year on the skills that recruiters search for most often. And you need to be careful about these top 5 soft skills. If recruiters are always looking for people with creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, emotional intelligence, you need to add those to your profile. Because if the recruiters feel that these are good indicators of success in their company, add those in. You can put them in the skills area, or you can put them in the about section where you're talking about how you use those skills. If you're interested in a remote job, if you want working from home as the primary way of doing business, then recruiters are going to be looking for some of the self-management skills. And those would be things like active learning, resilience, stress tolerance, and self-motivation. Adding those into your profile are going to give recruiters the comfort that you're able to work from home and be effective and efficient during that time. Not everybody can do that from home, but if you're interested in staying at home or working from home in the future, let's make sure that you add those in as some of your key skills. Now, the skills and endorsement area, you've got the ability to put up to 50. We recommend that you use between 45 and 50. You've got the room, take it. Make sure that those skills have both technical skills and managerial skills. Sometimes we put in all of our technical skills, but we forget to put in how we use those skills. Being able to put in the communication, the problem solving, all of the skills that made you better than just somebody who happened to have the same skill set, it's going to be important to put in here. The higher you are in an organization, the more your skills are going to change from technical skills to managerial skills. So if you're looking for a vice president position, you're going to want to put in more goals associated with strategy. You're allowed to pick 3 skills that are going to be the best skills that you want recruiters to see. You can change those out and make sure that they're the skills that are appropriate for your new job. Get rid of the skills that you don't need anymore. If you had a job 15 years ago and you had to use some skills, but you don't use them anymore, get rid of them. They're not useful to you anymore. Replace them with skills that are appropriate for the type of role you're looking for. I also like telling people to add one unusual skill so that you stand out from everyone else who might have very, very similar profiles. So being able to say what your hobby is, what your interest is outside of work is going to be an important part of making you stand out a bit more and make a recruiter recognize that you're just a little bit different than other people who they're looking at. LinkedIn is going to put all of your skills into categories. You cannot change the categories. LinkedIn is not always correct where they're putting the skill, but you can't change it. But if you have a lot of skills in one category, you may want to alphabetize them because it makes for easier reading. And if someone is looking for a particular skill in your skill and endorsement area, having them alphabetized makes it easier for them to find those skills. Now, it's still called the skills and endorsement area, and LinkedIn felt that it was appropriate to determine the strength of your skill by the number of endorsements that you receive. What they found out over time is that that wasn't necessarily the best indicator of the strength of the skill. So what they've done is they've created a skill quiz. And in your skill and endorsement area, if you have a skill in this area that has a quiz associated with it, then you'll see this item here. You click on it, and it'll take you into an area that has the test. The assessments, they're going to be technical skills, business skills, or design skills. And the early results that LinkedIn is telling us is that if you have passed that test, then you're 30% more likely to be hired if that skill is essential for the job that you're applying for. Good thing to know. So take the skill quiz. They are generally between 15 and 20 multiple choice questions. It is a timed test. It must be completed in one session, and you have to get a 70% or better in order to pass the test. If you do not pass the test, nobody's going to say, nobody's going to know, but you won't be able to retake the test until 3 months later. Now, the passing gives you a badge that can be placed next to your profile where the skills are. Looks like a clipboard with a check mark in the middle of it. It's good for a year. At that point, LinkedIn wants you to retake the test because they want to know that you're up to date on the new features. If you scroll over, you'll see that it says passed LinkedIn assessment. New sections we're going to be adding in, and wanted to cover the fact that being an AllStar is going to be an important part of your profile. And these are the things that are required in order to be an AllStar. You have to have a current position, so you have to have a job, an active job. Location, industry, LinkedIn assigns an industry to you based on the role that you had and what the company is, but you can change that because LinkedIn has 146 different industries. You need to have that summary section, the about section. It needs to be a minimum of 40 words in order to get full credit for having a summary. You need to have at least 5 skills in your skills and endorsement. You need to have something in education. It doesn't have to be college. It can be whatever education you've had. And you need to have a headshot. So let's take a look at the LinkedIn profiles themselves so that we'll be able to walk through what we've just talked about here. So we'll go through my LinkedIn profile, having information up at the top that tells a little bit more about what I do, how I do it, making sure that the open to work area has been filled out. One of the questions that does come up quite often is, do you want to have the green frame around your picture that indicates that you're looking for a job? Or do you want just the recruiters who are using the LinkedIn recruiter search to be able to see that you're open to new opportunities? I like having the green frame because only half of the recruiters on LinkedIn are using the LinkedIn recruiter software. The mid-sized companies and certainly the smaller companies are simply using the search bar at the top of the page to type in a title and some skills and maybe a geographic location. So they'll use a Boolean search in the search bar at the top of the page in order to find people. The only way that 50% of the recruiters using LinkedIn can see that you're looking for a job is if you have the green frame. If you are an executive looking for a new job, I would not put the green frame on. You've got a different type of search and you don't need to put that on. But you'll hear a lot of discussion on that as to whether it's good, whether it's not good. That's my opinion on it. LinkedIn doesn't have a lot of information at this point, so we'll see how that looks in the future. In your about section, you are going to put in as much information as you can, and you're going to put them in small paragraphs. People can't read long paragraphs. A 4-line deep paragraph is as long as you want on LinkedIn, so have a lot of small paragraphs for easy readability. You can also put in a list of skills that you have in this section. It's nice to be able to use some of these in your discussion up at the top as far as who you are and what you're doing. But if you're interested in getting as many skills as possible, put them in here. And also make sure that you put in the way of contacting you from a personal email rather than trying to message you through LinkedIn. Some people like putting this contact me at the very start of the about section. I like it at the bottom because I like having a strong statement to start out with. But as long as you have it out there, that'll work for you. Now, here's what you can do on your titles as you're going through and ensuring that you've got the experience that recruiters are looking for. My official title at LHH is career consultant, but in the industry, I'm also known as a career coach. So I put both of those titles out there to make sure that if a recruiter is looking for an exact match on the job that they're looking for, my profile is going to come up regardless of whether they're looking for this or that title. So putting in more titles in here, also known as titles, or more detail as to what you did in that role. So here's an example of the second one. In my previous role, I was Senior Manager of Training and Development, but that doesn't really say what I did. Most of my time was spent in moving the company into instructional design and e-learning. So I put those two titles after. They're a little bit lower as far as the managerial roles. I could have put down manager of instructional design or manager of e-learning development. You can put in the titles that you want, but I wanted to make sure that people realize that although this is the official title, and I like keeping that, here are the other titles that indicate the type of work that I did while I was in that role. In your skills and endorsements, if you don't have this take skill quiz, that means that you don't have any skills in your skills area that have a skill associated with them. Don't worry about it then. If you do, and you feel that there is something on your skills that would benefit you to have a notification to other people that you are skilled in this, then take the quiz. The two things we can do: we can add a new skill, we can modify. If we're going to edit, make sure that your top 3 skills, which have the green tack mark by them, are truly the 3 skills that you need for your next job. And if you are a higher level position, you need to probably have 2 soft skills, possibly 3 soft skills. If you are at a lower level where you're depending more on your technical knowledge and ability, you'll have all 3 of these as technical skills. So make sure they're balanced for the type of position you're looking for: soft skills, hard skills. If you don't need the skill anymore because it's a skill you used way long ago, then there is a handy trash can next to each one of the skills. To put them in alphabetical order, use the 4 parallel lines. The cheeseburger over here, click and drag and move them up and down. Also check on your endorsement settings. It doesn't show that you can click on it, but you can. And make sure all 3 of these are in the green to indicate that you want other people to endorse you. Your profile gets more points when other people endorse you. Your profile gets more points when you endorse other people. So be active on other people's profiles and endorsing them for the skills that you feel were most beneficial for their role. Adding new skills, should be comfortable with this. You're going to be able to have as many skills as you want until the point where you reach 50, and then this will be blacked out. And the categories: industry knowledge, tools and technology, interpersonal skills. You've got room for all of those. Recommendations, you normally want to have about the same number as received as you have given. If you have too many received and too little given, it looks as if you're not as much of a team player and that you're not recognizing other people's talents. If you have more that you've given and you haven't received any, then it may be that you are a bit shy about asking other people for help, and that's not a good sign either. So try and keep these two pretty much in balance. On the accomplishment side, this is where you can start adding more to your LinkedIn profile. And let's go back up to the top where we've got this area that's called Add Section. When we add section, you can see that we can add more work experience, more education. Licenses and certifications will be strong if during the course of your time you have received any licenses or any certifications, add those in. You may also have them in your About section, but you want to make sure that you have them in this section because recruiters will be able to see these more clearly. Volunteer experience has become more important as companies realize that they have a social profile as well as a business profile in the community. So they're looking for people who match their interest in giving back to the community. Having volunteer experience, no matter how far back it is a good thing to add into your profile. Now, this accomplishments area has a lot here. If you've published anything, add that in. If you have patents in your name, put it in. If you have taken courses in the company that have increased your skills, and it could be that it was a communication class that you were asked to attend, a new coding class, some type of course that you took, possibly because you felt it was beneficial to you rather than because it was mandatory, put those down into courses. Other courses that you need to add in, and let's click on it. You're going to put in the name, whatever name you want of the course. You don't need to put in any numbers, but you do need to put in what company you were working with when you took that class. So that's all you need to put in at this point. But what that equates to is that it adds more information to your profile that other people might not have. And we know that LinkedIn rewards the more words, the more features you're using of their LinkedIn profile. So let's add more in there. And one of the things that you can add immediately on courses are the courses that you took on a yearly basis that came from the compliance team, the legal team. Those are going to be classes that you took on an annual basis. That's fine. So on a yearly basis, I take these classes: anti-corruption and bribery, cybersecurity, conflicts of interest. You probably took classes like that too. Add those to your profile. These are great words. And you may not remember the title, but you can put in any information that you want that would be appropriate for the type of learning that you had to go through. So if you had to take OSHA compliance, if you had to take OFAC, whatever else you had to take, put it in here, because it indicates that you recognize the importance of taking those and that you know that you're going to be taking those again and again. Question came up, is it okay to give a recommendation to someone who's given you one, or does it look like quid pro quo? Recruiters don't care quite as much about that. So if you have received a recommendation from someone, you can certainly give them a recommendation back. The best way to do that is to send them a message, because you can only do recommendations to first degree connections. But sending them a message back, thank you so much for the recommendation. I'd like to write you one. What skills would you like me to talk about? Because there's nothing worse than getting a recommendation and they're talking about something you hope you never have to do again. So make sure that you let other people know when they offer to write a recommendation that you'd like them to talk about how you showed leadership, how you showed creativity, how you did problem solving, how you took care of other departments outside of your own in collaborative measures. So put in some of the key words that you want them to write about, and it'll make it easier for them to write. So when you're putting in your courses, whatever courses you took at the company or outside the company, you're going to put in here. If you belong to any professional organizations, and if you have projects. Projects is a good way to add more verbiage into your profile. You've got 2,600 characters in the About section. That's plenty of room to talk about things. But if you had something that you did in your last role that you think was really special and you want to highlight it more, this projects area gives you an immense amount of room to talk about what you did, how you did it, and what happened as a result. It's the second largest area of LinkedIn. It's 2,000 characters. And the way that you get to that, go back up, you're going to add a section, into accomplishments, into projects. You can put in any project name that you want, the dates, what company you're associated with, but this description area just is an amazingly large area that allows you to answer any questions that people might have. One of the problems we have with resumes and to some extent LinkedIn is that you're limited in the amount of space that you can talk about yourself. And some people think that that's plenty of space, and that could be for some people, but if you had a project that you were proud of doing and you want to use that as an interview answer and you want to be able to put more information out there about what you did, how you did it, add projects. Great place to add more content. keep an eye on your dashboard. Nobody can see your dashboard except you, but you do want to keep track of how often people look at your profile. If you are posting, you want to see how many people have looked at your post and how many search appearances you come up with. This gives you as close an approximation as possible as to how LinkedIn is treating your profile. It's not going to tell you what your score is or how high up you rank in some of the searches, but if you're seeing that these numbers are increasing as you become more engaged in LinkedIn and as you add more content to LinkedIn, then you can say that you're on the right track. So let's take a look at the networking side. If somebody in the chat feature can give me the name of a company that they're looking for. Any company that you think would be a good one to work for that's in your marketing plan. Tyler Technologies, thank you. All right, as you type it in, LinkedIn is going to give you information and you can take a look through and find the right one for you. It looks like this top one is an exact match. You're going to want to follow the company because when you follow the company, it's going to drop it into your interest area and it is going to put on your home page more information about the company. Anytime they've got a public announcement, a new product, something dealing with employee engagement, you're going to be able to see that shows up on your home feature here. But going back to Tyler, you're going to take a look at jobs. And the job section here, it could take you to the company page because the company page has got the most jobs associated with it. But on LinkedIn, it allows you to create a job alert. And the job alert here is different from the job alert up on the jobs tab, because in this one, it allows you to put in an exact title and where you're going to be working. And then you can create the job alert. When you create the job alert, that means that if this company posts a job on LinkedIn and it matches your experience and skills on your profile, the recruiters will be given your profile URL to say, here's somebody that you might want to look at, they're interested in your company, and they've got the skills that you're looking for. This gives an immediate match and makes it a lot easier for the recruiter to go out and find the people quickly that they need. You can have up to 8 job alerts per company. So if you have different job titles that you're looking at, you can create a job title for each one of those. Then you want to go into the people section. And the people section tells you about the 5,316 people who work for Tyler Technologies and who have a LinkedIn profile. In this case, pretty straightforward. We've got people don't have many people here, do we? They've got a lot of people, but they're not on LinkedIn. Somebody give me a different company so that we can take a look at how to use these filters a little bit better. And if you want, you can just shout it out, unmute yourself.
What about USAA?
All right. They got a lot of folks. Okay. And for David, for Tyler Technologies, you'll be able to do the same thing. You're going to go to jobs, create your job alert, go to people. Here are the people. You're generally going to be looking for the people who are most closely associated with your geographic location.
You know, it sure looks like LinkedIn has changed something now, because you used to be able to see a lot more people, and now you're only being able to see maybe your connections.
Ruth, I would scroll down. I know you can see them. I think you'll be able to see the people you're looking for if you scroll down the page. There you go.
I can see the people, but I'm used to seeing all 31,000. So it's telling me how many people are in each one. Yeah, it looks like they've changed that, haven't they?
Looks like you can only, because when you go to when you go next, go over to your
Because those
connections.
are the
You can
11
only
that are
see
showing
your
up
first
here.
8 connections now.
That's a change, isn't it?
Now that really takes this function, pulls this function out.
Well, but Jeff, I'm in Tyler Technologies. I went into it right after she came over to this USAA one, and I'm seeing all the people that I saw before.
So you're seeing a larger number?
Not first degree connections either.
It used to be that you would see where they lived for everyone who was in the USAA team. And here it would tell you what they do and what they study, and then what skills they have in LinkedIn and how you're connected with them. The fact that they're only showing me the 11 here.
Yeah, it must just be your profile, because I can still see for USAA, I can see, 31,000 people.
Interesting.
Hopefully it's not a change that the rest of us are going to be seeing soon.
It may be that I have reached the maximum number of searches that I can have for a month, because that cuts you off from seeing other people.
Ah,
So I'll bet that's
can I
it.
share my screen so we can show this to people.
Yeah, if you could.
Let's see here. So just tell me what you want me to do.
Click on the show more down at the bottom. All right, so we've got a lot of people here. You can start narrowing it down by location. So did you want the Dallas-Fort Worth, or did you want Austin? Let's try the
Okay.
Dallas-Fort Worth one.
All
So
right.
click on that. And if you go on to the next, it gives you 2 new sets of information. What they do is what department they're in. You may not care about what they studied quite as much, but knowing what department they're in is going to be an important part of connecting with the right people. Remember that LinkedIn Recruiter is rewarding people who are connected to people within the company. So if you're in one of these departments, click on any of those, Jeff. And when we scroll down, we're going to see the tiles of the people. Take a look through and see if there's anyone that would be in the department or in a similar role to what you're looking for. Do not use the white connect button, because the white connect button sends the automatic, I'd like to be part of your network. You're going to need to, let's stop right there and go down one more. Okay, we can see that Jason Miner has a background. He doesn't have his picture on it, but let's click on that background or on his picture. You're going to go to their LinkedIn profile, and under the More button, if you click on that, you'll be able to see that you connect with them. And when you connect with them, that will always allow you to personalize the message. A blue connect button on this page or a connect under the More button is always going to allow you to personalize, and that's what you want to do. I see you're working in workforce planning. That's my field also. How do you like working at USAA? I'm considering jobs within that company. Let's connect. So you always need to give a reason that you're connecting with people. And if you go next, one more time, you're going to see that you may have some people that you're connected with already. Now, the first degree connections are good, because if you can leverage that by, can you tell me who the hiring manager is or who is recruiting, you can get some information there. But you can also utilize the second degree connections, because if you click on that, You can take a look at the 15 tiles that open up down at the bottom. And you may be able to find people who are similar enough in your role. And now your connect request is going to be something along the lines of, I see we have people in common in our LinkedIn networks. I'm interested in USAA as a company. How do you like it there? Let's connect. So finding people who look as if they could connect, you're normally going to pick the people who have a profile that is out there. So connecting with 3 people will generally get you 1 person to respond. Not everybody is active on LinkedIn. So let's go back on to clear off the searches there. Just keep the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And this time type into this search engine there, recruiter. Now we have 21 employees in the Dallas-Fort Worth area who are either currently recruiters or who have recruiting in their past. And if you go down to the bottom, you'll see the people, and you may want to take out the people who are the college recruiters or the technical recruiters. Find the people who are probably most likely to be the recruiters who would be handling you, and go and connect with those. Recruiters are more likely to connect with you than any other group of people. So finding a couple of those folks, sending off a connect request. I'm interested in positions at USAA. I have a background in blank with skills in blank. Let's connect. So always give a reason for that. Okay. Since we're on your page, we just have one more thing we need to do, and let's have somebody give us a school, college, university that they attended. Click on the home button to get off of the company page, because sometimes the company, yeah, there you go. Do we have a college or a school that somebody went to? There you go, McMurray. All right, now in this case, you're not interested in the jobs, but you are interested in the alumni. So if you can click on the alumni here, you're going to see that there are 6,254 people who graduated from McMurray in the last 121 years and who have a LinkedIn profile. Now the information they have, the first column is the same, where they live, but where they work. If you decided that you want to, let's see if any of them work at USAA. So in the search bar at the top there, right there, put USAA. And we do have people who are currently working there. So you would click on those to see those 9 people. And now you can connect with those folks and say, I see you also went to McMurray University. Go Tigers. I enjoyed my time there. I see you're working at USAA. I'm considering opportunities there. Let's connect. And then once you connect, you can start the dialogue. Do you know who the hiring manager is? Anything that I need to know about the interview process? So alumni are a great way to connect with people and to network into a company. And you want to make sure that you have a couple of people in every company that you're connected to, so you come up high on those company searches. If we disconnect from somebody on LinkedIn, does LinkedIn notify the person? Nope, not at all. The only way they'd be able to tell is if they came back onto your profile and could see that you were a second-degree connection instead of a first. But LinkedIn never tells anybody that they've been disconnected. Okay, questions?
Questions anybody has? If
I've got a
not,
question for you. You were just scrolling across and the different things, and it got to skills that they have. So if you go in and say you find the hiring manager, do you recommend, is there a recommendation to align with some of their skills that they have listed, making sure those are in yours? You see,
You can, but sometimes a managerial skill is not needed for the position that you're applying for. But if you're going to interview with a person, then knowing that they consider themselves skilled at analytical skills or leadership, that can be a real helpful thing to bring up in an interview, that you have those skills too. Because in an interview, it's all about what do we have in common, and let's make sure you like me too.
All right, well, Ruth, thank you very, very much. Great information today, as always. Here is Ruth's LinkedIn profile if you'd like to connect with her. If you do want to connect, though, please send a personal note. Let her know that you saw her here today at LinkedIn Tuesday. Next week, our speaker is going to be Terry Sullivan. He's going to talk about how to tell your key contacts and prospects who you are, what you do, and how you can help. Please note the session next week's session will not be recorded, so you can only watch the session live. All right, I need everybody, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. You would not believe the number of people who want to connect with me and they just hit the connect button. They hit that white connect button and there's no way for me to connect. I don't know why we should connect. So always send that personal note. And if you're one of those people out there who have done that, withdraw your connection and then send a new connection request with a personal note.
That's a sure way to generate the ignore button.
Yeah, I know. Please join Career DFW and Career USA. We're putting on training 4 days a week, every week. Tomorrow for interviewing Wednesdays, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we're going to talk about video interviewing. Everything you need to know about video interviewing. By now, hopefully everybody has gotten pretty good at it, but if you're new in the job search, this would be a great presentation to watch tomorrow at 1 o'clock. On Thursday, it's the 4th Thursday of the month. So we'll be talking about networking, the core of your search, where, who are the people that you should be contacting? Who are the core people that you need to be talking with? Well, I'll talk about that. Ford Myers is a career coach out of the, I think, Philadelphia area, and he'll be joining us this Thursday at 1 o'clock. This Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting, PJ Dunn will be with us to talk about how to translate the art of transitioning. So if you're thinking about transitioning into a new skill or a new job, please join us this Friday. It may be very, very interesting. Please join the Career DFW and Career USA LinkedIn groups if you want to try to connect with everybody. You do not need to be a member. You do not need to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join the Career DFW group. That's just the first group I started. And then I started the Career USA group when I started the Career USA website. We have over 13,000 members in the Career DFW group, so it's a great way to expand your connections quickly. I know I just approved a few people today, and 2 of the 5 that I approved were recruiters. Why are they joining? Because this is an easy way for them to find you. So please, if you'd like to join, please do that. This session has been recorded, as most of our sessions are. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page. And in a couple hours, it'll be uploaded to the Career USA YouTube channel. It takes a couple hours for YouTube to upload the video. Please follow us on Facebook. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd really, really appreciate it. On the YouTube channel, here's what it looks like. Click on the green arrow where it says playlist, and then up will come the different playlists that I've put together. There's 6 different playlists that you can select. Then don't click on the video down below, but click down where the red arrow is, and it says view full playlist. And that will allow you to see a list of all the different topics and titles and who's talked. And you can go back and watch any one of these as often or as slowly, or pause it, do something on your LinkedIn profile, and go back and watch more of the video back and forth as much as you'd like. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops, if you found about us through Instagram or Facebook and you'd like to join the Career USA mailing list, you're welcome to do so. Just send an email to Career USA, the +, subscribe at groups.io. You will get 5 or 6 emails a week. And the nice thing about it is you get the title of the day, the topic of the day, and the Zoom link of the day. And you don't have to go look for it anyplace because it'll be right there in your email, email inbox. Please note, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our speaker today is a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. We have no full or part-time employees. I've never gotten paid to do any of this over the last 13 years. I just do this to help you, the job seeker. Career DFW survives on donations. Please consider making a donation when you get your next job. So thank you very much for joining us today. Hopefully we'll see you later in the week. Everybody have a great afternoon.